well suited to be leveraged in the eDiscovery process in a wide variety of ways. It seems like a lot of the tools that have been deployed to date are really focused on downstream task and document review projects like coding for responsiveness or privilege and even issue tagging. But a lot of the tools that are coming to market and gaining more traction now are really related to more substantive work, like tasks involved with case strategy, for instance. So preparing transcript summaries, deposition summaries, creating lists of key facts or chronologies of events. And so I'm really excited to see how that takes hold in our industry. Something else that will be really useful in the future, I think, is once Air Assist is released generally, that's going to be a tool that I could see basically being used in every workspace that we host, where users are able to query their database with, natural language queries, or how they would ask a colleague or a friend a question. And so I'm excited to see those capabilities hit the market. But there's also a lot of really simple ways that AI can be used in eDiscovery that don't take on a ton of risk, like preparing document summaries or helping create priv-log descriptions. And generally, you could also use the analysis for things like providing a rationale, consideration, and key citations that could be used throughout the course of review. So excited to see it being deployed and think it's only going to advance from here.
In the legal industry, it's new. And I like to preface that when I talk to my clients, because it's something that it's being injected into every legal workflow, no matter whether it's discovery or case management or case research or case drafting. So AI is being enabled in not only discovery, but lots of applications in the space. I get a lot of questions about it, and I always say that it's new, right? I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there of what it can do, and I see a lot of tools, marketing the fact and showing that it is kind of an easy button that is pushed or runs on the data, and it's going to make everyone's life a lot easier, save a lot of time. But what a lot of these tools don't really show is the real life scenarios when it comes to, say, discovery, right? So, but I always like to tell clients, it's not like you're behind. The whole industry is evolving, because this literally has only been thrust into it in the last 2 years. And companies in eDiscovery are running it, but not as much as maybe they say they are. Us at Everest, we have run it. We understand it, but we take a very consultative approach towards it, because it may not be for every scenario, right? So as Josh said, there's some really good use cases for it when it comes to being from a review standpoint, where you're going to get through documents because of how it was engineered to rationalize what's responsive and not responsive or privileged, or maybe find some key facts, etc. But the fact is, it might, based on the case and the nuances of the case, it may not be a good workflow. So I think everyone's trying to fit AI in a box, and it's going to do this out of the box, and but not a lot of people talk about all the nuances, and that it's really can be very use case specific, and and with varying results. So I just wanted to preface that, because I find it very important, because I am out in the market. I talk to a lot of clients who say, I want to use AI, or what can AI do? And there still needs to be a lot of education, and I think that's why we're doing these conversations, and I think they're really important, because you can get lost in the marketing and be confused with all the applications. There's been over 500 of them thrust into our industry in the last 2 years. So it's a very murky space. And, I think education is key right now with clients and in the industry as a whole, and the reality of the applications, what they can do. And I think that's very important.